Has your brand's revenue flatlined? Have you ever wondered why brands get so much news coverage and make millions from it? I want to introduce you to editorial funnels. Most brands don't use editorial funnels, even though it has very high returns. Now you might be asking me, why don't brands use editorial funnels? And pretty straightforward, it's a little bit of work. And frankly, it's harder to scale than traditional models. So now you might be asking, what is an editorial funnel? Simplify it just like this. An editorial funnel is a news organization, a faux news organization, so a fake news organization that you use to prop up and give credibility to your brand and your products. It's fairly straightforward. What that looks like is creating a news organization that talks purely about what you do. That means a landing page, that means an ad, and it gives you way more credibility than your brand deserves, because people, even though the news media hasn't been the best over the last few years, still trust news, even if they don't know the news organization, which is the craziest part. I think more brands should be running editorial funnels. Why, you may ask? It's because it builds credibility for brands that lack it. So if you have a low conversion rate and brands and consumers generally think you're a scam, there you go. Takes care of your credibility. If you're a brand new brand that's lacking influence, it's great for influence. It makes you seem a lot bigger than you are. This also works for a lot of B2B and personal brands as well. If you are trying to land consulting clients or you're trying to land agency clients, it's very straightforward to make you seem a lot bigger than you are, having a news article talk about you, and then having your ads appear for them. Now, it's very straightforward on how to run it. For some of you, you might already have a very clear idea on how to run some form of editorial funnel. You'll need a landing page, some kind of landing page builder that's separate from your main site, so you can have a different domain on it because you do want it to have a unique domain. You're gonna want a ad that looks like an advertorial, so that's an ad that looks like an advertorial or a news organization talking about it. You'll probably want a bunch, and obviously, if you see my other videos, I'm a big fan of creative production. This will be part of it. Lastly, you're going to want a Facebook page and an Instagram page that looks like the brand. The reason it's so important is you want to appear as if that news organization is advertising for you. You don't want your brand name slapped all over this other news organization's ads about you. You want them to be advertising your products. That is the whole focus of the editorial funnel. So that being said, how to run it is effectively, you go build out a landing page. I use Claude. I use very basic skills to try and build out these landing pages. It's not anything complicated. You build them out, talking about the product, have pop-ups on the page. It should not be attached to your main site. It should not be on your main site. Effectively, it will just look like a news article talking through your products. You will have pop-ups on there. I want you to have a little side banner, a floating add to cart throughout the page. It should look like they are advertising your product with a link back for them, for people to go and buy your product. Now, where does this kind of fit in the funnel? This is a very top of funnel strategy. This builds credibility for new users who've never heard of you. But it also doesn't hurt for users in the middle of the funnel. Users may have seen your ads before, been a little iffy. This might bring them over the fence. Some things you should avoid when running this is you make sure you say sponsored by somewhere within that news article. It doesn't have to be at the top, it can be at the bottom, it can be even tucked away in a little corner of the page, but just include somewhere sponsored by so you don't get sued for misleading consumers. Again, I can't stress enough, avoid using your brand's name. Have it separate. This should look like an entirely different entity is advertising about your products. So if I have a clothing brand, this entity should be advertising my clothing brand, not me advertising my clothing brand through another company. Does that make sense? Going back to why and some of the results I've seen from this, one brand I worked with was struggling very greatly to get conversions. Often it felt like a struggle in their field to get by conversions. In their field, to kind of give some background as well, they're in the supplement industry, and supplements are a very intense field. It's a very competitive market as a whole. So what we ended up doing is we sat down and said, all right, let's take this editorial angle. We built out this news article talking about the brand, built out this separate news organization, and on the top of funnel, not including middle of funnel or bottom of funnel, so people who've seen the site or people who've bought previously, conversion rate jumped almost 70% overnight. On top of that, we also had the middle of the funnel started to pick up performance as well, because people had seen ads from the editorial, and then had gone and seen ads from the main brand, and those ads started to increase in conversion rate as well. So it wasn't just the editorial. The editorial picked up the funnel, both funnels, and lifted them up just by building credibility. That being said, if you have any questions on how to build an editorial funnel, if you have any concerns or comments, feel free to drop them below. If you like my videos, feel free to subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.